Welcome back. A murder investigation is underway for Christine Rackage, a mother and a new grandmother found dead at a home in Rooty Hill this week. It's believed to be an incident of domestic violence. Her ex-husband under police guard in hospital. And it comes amid what police are calling an epidemic, receiving 140,000 calls a day, 400 a day. It's sickening. It has to stop. Everyone out there needs to do their bit. Lives are not disposable like this, and the whole community needs to act. We can't be hearing these stories on a regular basis. Joining us to discuss today's headlines is Queensland Opposition Leader David Crisafulli in Brisbane and Independent MP Dai in the studio with me. Thanks so much for your time today, guys. Now, Christine had notified police about her partner, even taking out an AVO against him. The system is clearly ill-equipped to deal with these kinds of acts.
Look, absolutely. I think that from my perspective, the police force is still ill-equipped to deal with this. There's been, obviously the great thing is that we have now focused on domestic violence, that people can talk about it and women can make those calls. So therefore, that's probably why we're seeing an increasing number of calls. But it's really our community. We don't have resources for women to leave a domestic violence household. We have very few of those refuges, and we need to do something more in terms of the government really has to step in to provide this support for women and for families who are actually being exposed to this kind of violence in the homes. Yeah.
Well, exactly. I mean, the community's failing women, the system's failing women, and it's not just women, it's households, it's families who are being impacted by the loss of a mother. I mean, it's just outrageous. David, this is a problem right across the country. We've seen horrific incidents happen in Queensland as well, as you know. What is the solution here? Why can't we get on top of this?
You're right, Sarah. Every month in Parliament we have an organisation called the Red Rose Foundation, and they lay a rose in memory of more lives that are lost, and every month the tally grows. And increasingly we have to look at what we're doing and understand that what we're doing isn't working. And I can't comment for other states, but I know in Queensland we've got less police than we did a couple of years ago, and that puts strain and pressure on the system. And we know it's an issue that is impacting every community, every socio-economic group. What we're doing isn't working, and we have to acknowledge it, and we've got to do something about it.
Yeah, the community needs to wake up, I think. And if anyone out there sees anything, you just need to report it. You know, you might feel afraid to, but just do it, because you might actually be saving somebody's life. And if you or anyone you know is a victim of domestic violence, there is help available. Call 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732. Let's wake up to this. All right, well, let's move on now. And federal public servants will now be able to work from home full-time under a new deal struck by the Community and Public Sector Union. David, we know workplaces are changing, but are we heading in the right direction? Should people be working from home, or should we send them back into the office?
They have changed, and they've changed forever. And there will be a hybrid model that exists, and the flexibility that comes with that. But I'll make a couple of points. The vast majority of people, whether they work in the private or the public sector, do want to be part of a team. And they do want to come into the office. They want that flexibility, but they want to be part of something special, and that needs to exist. Just bear in mind, there's a lot of people who don't have that flexibility. Police, nurses, the cafe owner and the person they employ in the CBD. And that's why it's important that people do come back into their work environments and support those small and family businesses and be part of something special. That's why I think there is that hybrid model which will exist for a long time. But to suggest that people won't go into an office environment, I just don't believe that is real or acceptable in a modern workplace.
Yeah, Dave, this is a funny one for me. I do think we need flexibility, but I think we should also be encouraging people to come back into the office. I mean, the Commonwealth Bank's been in a bit of trouble with this, wanting a 50% return to work. I don't think that's asking too much.
No, absolutely not. And I think, you know, my understanding is that they've given a choice, an option to go back 50% of the time. And that is a great option. And as David said, there are families in Fowler, in factory workers, you know, truck deliveries, people who are running a small business that don't have that choice.
They don't.
So I think that really we need to really realise the privilege of being able to work from home, but also understand that you need to go back into the workplace because there is an impact on productivity. But now that we have this hybrid model, make sure that we actually use that to the most so that we become very productive, not to the opposite of productivity. But I think, look, I prefer to go into the office
Yeah.
because it's teamwork.
Yeah.
You cannot work in isolation.
I know, and I do wonder what it means for like just the way we're going to raise the next generation if they're not going
Yeah.
into the workforce. What
Yeah.
changes that'll bring to society?
Yeah, look, I think it's great for women and who've got families, but for them, they'll be isolated from the team. So I think really people need to really look at this and say, okay, if we have that choice, let's make sure the hybrid model really works really well.
Yeah, absolutely.